this could be some simulation.
It could. Do you entertain that?
Well, the argument for the simulation, I think, is quite strong, because if you assume any improvement at all over time, any improvement, 1%, 0.1%, just extend the time frame, make it 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. What would civilization, if you counted, if you're very generous, civilization is maybe 7,000 or 8,000 years old, if you count it from the first writing. This is nothing. This is nothing. So if you assume any rate of improvement at all, then games will be indistinguishable from reality. Or civilization will end. One of those two things will occur. Therefore, we are most likely in a simulation.
Or we're on our way to one, right? Well, but just because we exist, we could most certainly be on the road. We could be on the road to that, right? It doesn't mean that it has to have already happened. We could be in base reality.
We could be in base reality.
We could be here now on our way to the road or on our way to the destination where this can never happen again, where we are completely ingrained in some sort of an artificial technology or some sort of a symbiotic relationship with the internet or the next level of sharing information. But right now we're not there yet. That's possible too, right? It's possible that a simulation is one day going to be inevitable, that we're going to have something that's indistinguishable from regular reality. But maybe we're not there yet. That's also possible. That we're not quite there yet. That this is real. When I touch that
feels
wood,
very real.
Maybe that's why everybody's like into like mason jars and shit.
Mason jars.
Suede shoes. People are into like craft restaurants and they want raw wood. Everyone wants to see metal. It seems like people are like longing towards some weird log cabin type nostalgia.
Sure, reality.
Yeah, like holding on, like clinging, just dragging their nails through the mud, like don't take me yet.
Yes.
Opponent of the multi-universes theory. Do you believe that there are many, many universes, and that even if this one fades out, that there's other ones that are starting fresh right now, and there's an infinite number of them, and they're just constantly in this never-ending cycle of birth and death?
I think most likely, this is just about probability, there are many, many simulations. These simulations are, you might as well call them reality, or you could call them multiverse.
These simulations, you believe, are created? Like someone has manufactured?
They're running on a substrate.
So...
that substrate is probably boring.
Boring?
Mm-hmm.
How so?
Well, when we create a simulation, like a game or a movie, it's a distillation of what's interesting about life. You know, like it can take a year to shoot an action movie. And then that's all distilled down into 2 or 3 hours. So let me tell you, if you see an action movie being filmed, it's boring. Super boring. There's like lots of takes. Everything's in a green screen. Looks pretty goofy. Doesn't look cool. But once you add the CGI and have great editing, it's amazing. So I think most likely, if we're a simulation, it's really boring outside the simulation. Because why would you make a simulation that's boring? You'd make the simulation way more interesting than base reality.
That is, if this right now is a simulation.
Yes.
And ultimately, inevitably, as long as we don't die or get hit by a meteor, we're going to create some sort of simulation if we continue on the same technological path we're on right now.
Yes.
But we might not be there yet. So it might not be a simulation here. But it most likely is, you feel, other places.
This notion of place or where is
flawed.
Yes.
Flawed
like
perception.
Like right. That, if you have this sort of Vive, you know, that's made by Valve and Steam and it's really Valve that made it. HTC did the hardware, but it's really a Valve thing.
Makers of Half-Life.
Yes. Valve, great company.
Great company.
When you're in that virtual reality, which is only going to get better, where are you? Where are you really?
Right.
You aren't anywhere.
Well, whereas
You're in the computer.
what defines where you are? Is
Exactly.
it right?
It's your perception.
Is it your perceptions, or is it a scale that we have under your butt? You're
What do
right here. I've measured you. You're the same weight as you were when you left. But meanwhile, your experience is
Why do you
radically
think
different.
you're where you are right now? You might not be.
I'll spark up a joint if you keep talking. Your manager's going to come in here. We might have to lock the door.
Right now, you think you're in a studio in LA.
That's what I heard.
You might be in a computer.
Oh, listen, man. I think about this all the time. Yeah, I mean, it's unquestionable that one day that'll be the case. As long as we keep going. As long as nothing interrupts us. And if we start from scratch and, we're single-celled organisms all over again, and then millions and millions of years later we become the next thing that is us with creativity and the ability to change its environment, it's going to keep monkeying with things until it figures out a way to change reality. To change, to almost like punch a hole through what is this thing into what it wants it to be and create new things. And then those new things will intersect with other people's new things. And then it'll be this ultimate pathway of infinite ideas and expression, all through technology.
Yeah.
And then we're going to wonder, like, why are we here? What are we doing?
Let's find out.
Well,
I think we should take the set of actions that are most likely to make the future better.
yes. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then reevaluate those actions to make sure that it's true.
Well, I think there's a movement to that. In terms of like a social movement, I think some of it's misguided and some of it's exaggerated, and there's a lot of people that are fighting for their side out there. But it seems like the general trend of like social awareness seems to be much more heightened now than has ever been in any other time in history, because of our ability to express ourselves instantaneously to each other through Facebook or Twitter or what have you. And that the trend is to abandon preconceived notions, abandon prejudice, abandon discrimination, and promote kindness and happiness as much as possible.